Hello viewers and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. It seems as if things are not well and not good for Emmerson Dambodzo Mnangagwa, who recently imposed license on WhatsApp group admins. He's in Azerbaijan and there is something significant happened there. The authorities in Azerbaijan guided President Emmerson Dambodzo Mnangagwa on a tour of Azerbaijan Service and Assessment Network, ASAN Service Center in Baku. And this is a centralized government agency that facilitates all civil and public service registrations. This visit coincides with a troubling trend in President Mnangagwa's government, which has introduced the repressive laws aimed at silencing citizens, including a new requirement for WhatsApp group admins to obtain licenses. So if you take a look on what is happening, this is a man who is attending COP29 summit, and he's then in Azerbaijan. Instead of him to be shown something else, the authorities there took the man to show him how the ICT Ministry should function. And this is a very, very important issue, because when you have an incompetent leader, that incompetent leader is then taken to something which is competent, which the opposition right here in Zimbabwe has been calling for. We have said to the government in Zimbabwe, use the Ministry of ICT to guide the digitalization of Zimbabwe. Instead, Emmerson Mnangagwa appointed Tatenda Mavetera, somebody who knows nothing about technology. That woman is spearheading the 2030 agenda instead of spearheading the digitalization of Zimbabwean economy. So you can actually see that these visits are very important, because when a leader goes there and is taken to a certain center and is shown how to digitalize an economy, something which has been reluctantly avoiding for a very long time, he has avoided this whole issue. Right now, he has been shown a center which offers the 400 different registrations or registration services across various sectors, and it ensures easy access to the service delivery to the citizens of Azerbaijan. So when it operates numerous branches nationwide, and it was established through a presidential decree, which means himself, Emmerson Mnangagwa, if he had these ideas, he could have done it, but he doesn't want. So this was established in 2013. More than 10 years later, Zimbabwe is failing to do this simple thing, and they would continue to tell you stories. We have written dossiers several times in WhatsApp platforms, Facebook, X, everywhere. They've talked about this issue of digitalization, saying it's the easiest thing to do. But they're not willing to do it because the issue of corruption, which is the lifeline of ZANU-PF, is the key prohibitive thing. They will never want to implement this because corruption will be reduced by 98%. Imagine someone using a phone to access the IDs and birth certificates. Then you simply need to have to visit for authentication to say, is this the real person or not? It will not take you 5 minutes upon reaching the office, because everything is done online. Your appointment will be known. You agree. If you are delayed, you adjust online. You simply go and adjust time, the time of appointment, and everybody will be knowing. If there is a delay, you also not quit an adjustment. The authorities will then question the office, why is this person not yet served? It's very, very simple, and it eradicates corruption. Registrar. It eradicates corruption and registration of dubious people. So you can actually see that this is a system which is going to pick dubious people when they are registered by ZEC. The system easily picks it up to say these people are dubious. We do not know them. They have not presented themselves physically at the registration centers to authenticate themselves. So ZANU-PF will never want to have this kind of thing because of corruption, because of election rigging, because of the dubious mechanisms they use to win elections right in Zimbabwe. So we have talked about this issue and said, instead of you running around after the buses and the combis, why can't you digitalize everything and make sure that you use GPS systems to track buses? For example, a bus which leaves in Mbare is using a timetable, and that timetable, it shows that if the bus leaves at 5 a.m., it must reach Chiredzi maybe at 1 p.m. This is an example, or 12 p.m. It's an example. So what it means is when the bus leaves Harare, it's known when it is exiting the bus rank. And when it enters the bus rank in Chiredzi, they will know. For example, it starts to enter the bus rank in Gutu. They will know what time did this bus leave Harare? What time did this bus get into Gutu? Then they will ask, what time did it leave Gutu and what time did it reach Chiredzi? They will calculate, the system will be using AI. It will calculate the speed which this bus was using, as well as the issue of ticketing, because when everything is digitalized, you are able to see who and who was in this bus, and in terms of how they were traveling, the bus stops, the time taken to offload, everything will be easily calculated using an AI technology, and safety is then put on passengers. It's very, very easy, but they don't want. Why? It's because they are benefiting from overspeeding, from whatever they will be doing. For example, when you are operating a bus service which is meant to clean money, or which is used for money laundering. I will not mention the bus service which is doing money laundering right in Zimbabwe. The more trips it makes, the more the money they make, or they clean, or they launder. So when you look at all these things, you would see that they are reluctant to apply these things because it will affect the way they operate and the way they do their own business. So it will be asked and it will be questioned to say, okay, why is this bus leaving Mbare with 28 passengers and it remains profitable? So you can actually see that all those issues are very, very important. And the issue of staggering timetables will be dealt with. So, you know, when we speak about these issues, a lot of people will say the opposition does not have ideas. Ideas are there. But it's just that this government does not want to implement these things. And good news is that he was taken right there to actually go and see it for himself. So these are the pictures. Look at how he is smiling. How things should work. Right here in Zimbabwe, you have to attend a Mavetera, introducing something you do not know if is it a law, is it not a law? Why are you introducing things? This thing. What is the motivation behind? You ask to say, what do you benefit as an ICT minister? If you say license or group admins, what are you going to benefit as a country? What do we benefit from licensing group admins? Because we have never seen it happening. Go to other countries, you don't see that happening. I have never heard about such a thing. So thanks to the government of Azerbaijan for taking Mnangagwa to actually go and see how ICT ministries work. This is commendable. This is commendable. But the major question remains, is he willing to actually come and implement this? Is he willing to adopt this initiative in his own government right here in Zimbabwe? Because once implemented, it's going to be very difficult for ZEC to go on to tenders without scrutiny, because everyone will be having access on what ZEC is doing. Everyone will be having access on what this ministry is doing. Everyone will be having access on what the police is doing, what the military is doing. Everybody will be able to understand and see how things are being run. So we could have avoided the 100 million ZEC tender, because before it happened, people could have picked it up and dealt with it immediately. But right now in Zimbabwe, the problem is that without investigative journalists and inside leakers of information, you would not have known about this ZEC issue. This ZEC issue, thanks to Mike Chimombe and Moses Simpofu, it was not going to be known, thanks to the infighting within ZANU-PF. So if he is to implement this system, what it means is those issues won't be able to be done anymore. Tatenda Mavetera should be learning. Tatenda Mavetera should be seeing how her ministry should be run. For example, we have been talking about Starlink, direct to sell internet. Zimbabwe can leverage on this by simply introducing base stations right here in Zimbabwe, which means all the SADC countries will then have to put more money into Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe will benefit because all these countries will be using Zimbabwean base station, Starlink, which means Starlink will be pumping in more money right here in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabweans will benefit the more because Maripa Kuya is Zimbabwe. You are taking a certain percentage from all other countries. You are benefiting a certain percentage. Tatenda is not thinking about that. She is busy thinking about useless things. They will tell you, let us ban combis. But if you go to other countries, developed countries, they will go and partner with companies to say, you companies, you have your CCTVs. Can we use your CCTV facilities? Then they integrate into the national CCTV platform, where they will be able to monitor across the cities. For example, when the robbery was happening in Bulawayo, imagine if there was an AI-controlled CCTV system in place in Bulawayo. It was going to pick that incident very, very, very quickly. Once it picks that incident, the law enforcement authorities from ZRP and from the cash in transit van, they would be informed immediately, and their patrol teams dispatched immediately and action taken immediately, ipapo. But the robbers came, they robbed, they went off, and there was no presence of law enforcement authorities, only for them to rush tomorrow to then produce footages from the CCTV cameras. Something which could have been detected way earlier, simply by integrating the security systems of the city with the security apparatus, that is the council, that is the police, and probably the security companies, private security companies. But they will never want to do that. Why? It's because it benefits them the most. So when President Mnangagwa is taken to these issues, we have to thank God at least varikuenda kunoona that other countries kwavanomhanyira kuenda, great things are happening. So this is a great sign yekuti vanhu veZANU-PF, they know what needs to be done, but they just don't want to do it. So we will see what is going to happen. We will see if Tatenda Mavetera and President Emmerson Mnangagwa are going to focus more on digitalizing the economy of Zimbabwe with the view of, number one, improving service delivery, number two, eradicating mass corruption happening in Zimbabwe. You know, by simply digitalizing the public service, you improve performance by workers there. Number two, vanhu vari kutiza mabasa, munhu akuti anopinda anonologa in makuseni, otosiya atologa out, otoenda kwaanoenda. Vanhu ivavo, they will be cleared out, they will be caught, because you need to use your fingerprint. Without your fingerprint, then you cannot log in, you cannot log off. Which means vanhu vanga vachitiza basa, they won't be able to do so, and you improve efficiency. But our government has been reluctant to introduce this. So this is Team Zimbabwe, and let me see if there are any comments before we end this program. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And I'm seeing Temba. How are you, my brother Temba? Petronella, how are you? A very good morning. It's now afternoon. Temba says ED doesn't like digitalization to the entire nation because you'll be found wanting. So Sibongile, thank you very much for coming as well. We'll continue to give you updates and talk about what is happening. So it is what it is. We'll talk much about the elections in the SADC region. President Emmerson Mnangagwa is being humiliated left, right, and center. And let us talk about it in the next video.